everyone. Welcome to another episode. I have a really fun topic. Today, we're going to be talking about auras. I've got exciting book here, exciting author. It is Dimitri Moraitis. And welcome, beaming in from San Diego.
There we go. Thank you for having me on your show. It's a delight.
Yes. So you were on my audio podcast at some time, The Mystical
Right,
Matchmaker. We were talking about
right.
magical stuff, and now you've got this book, Change Your Aura, Change Your Life, a step-by-step guide to unfolding your spiritual power. And that
Yeah,
is with Barbara Martin.
right,
Yeah,
right.
and
We'll have to talk about her tonight,
yeah,
today.
we'll talk about her too. And you've even got some colorful
Yeah.
illustrations. And so tell us how you got started in all this magical auras and
Yeah, yeah. Well, boy, that's
physics.
quite a story there. Uh, well, I'll do very brief from myself. I had my spiritual awakening many years ago. I went to Los Angeles for movie making and things like that, and it was actually going pretty well. I didn't know anything about metaphysics at that point, but I was starting to have what I just call these inspiration moments where I was sort of in a different consciousness. It wasn't like, I wasn't feeling out of balance. The opposite, I was feeling more in control of things. And eventually it led to a very dramatic spiritual awakening. Even then, I didn't quite know what it was at first. I didn't have a name for it. But then when I realized it was metaphysics, I couldn't get enough of it. And this was in my mid-20s. And then about a year after that, I was invited to a dinner party and Barbara was there. She's a generation older than me. And she was leading a meditation with a small group at this dinner party. It was the first time I meditated. It was like literally an ancient door opening up. And then I started talking to her afterwards. And I had a lot of questions at that point, but I hadn't joined any group or anything. And so I thought we were having a great conversation. Barbara said, "Oh, you interrogated me that first night." But it turned out she was giving language to what I was experiencing. And I knew that night she was my teacher. What I didn't realize is that we were both going to be writing partners and business partners, and we were going to create the organization together. And also now she's trained me as a teacher. Now I have to step back with Barbara. Barbara was basically born clairvoyant. At 3 years old, she was seeing the aura, but and other things were happening. But she said, I didn't know what it was. I didn't have a name for it. I just knew I was attracted to people at this kind of an energy and detracted to this kind. And she got a lot of trouble for it because she would verbalize it at first, and people thought something was wrong with her, right? So she learned to keep quiet. Around 11, her father, interesting enough, was a Greek Orthodox priest, and he would build churches. So they would travel all over the country together, building these churches. She was one of 6 children, and when they went to Kansas City, Missouri, she met somebody. Well, by day she was in the theater, but secretly she was a hermetic scientist.
Mhm.
And she invited Barbara over to her house, this 11-year-old girl, and said, "You can see the aura, can't you?" And oh, I'm so sorry. And Barbara's mouth dropped, saying, "Oh my God, is that what it is?" She didn't even know what it was called, right? And she said, "I'm a hermetic scientist. I can see the aura too. I would like to help you teach you about your gifts." And she did. She started teaching her how to interpret. We're going to talk a lot about color. You're wearing bright red. That shows energy, pep, and vigor. And it's a great color to wear, by the way. Um, and then she went to LA during the golden age of Hollywood. She met all these celebrities and was kind of part of that world and thought entertainment was going to be her path. But then metaphysics called her back. And then she met another teacher, a very advanced mystic that was very clairvoyant and taught her to be a teacher. So she had all this knowledge about the aura, right? And so at one point, but there was no books or anything. So we were working together for a while and I said, okay, we got to finish this book. It's time to write this book, Change Your Life. And I thought it would be a snap, had the encyclopedia there. It was 2 solid years of work because you had to find the voice. And what I realized about midway through, this isn't a book actually on the aura, it's a book on meditation
Mhm.
by using the aura. And then once that happened, it was easy to put everything together. So our first edition came out, well, we had a precursor edition called The Kingdom of Light. Then the Change Your Aura came out 2003. We had an edition with Penguin, Tarcher, and now we've got this anniversary, 25th anniversary edition. And every time we add more material because we're teaching this. And when you're working with people, you're finding, well, what's the best way to express the knowledge and understanding? And not necessarily to learn to see the aura, although many come in with those experiences. But how do you work with it? How do you transform your life by working with the energy that's already a part of you? And
Right.
that's really what our whole work is about. Our whole institute's about that.
Yeah, and the meditations, I was looking at them, and I often, when I'm doing healing work, I'll bring in colors. I'll bring in, and your light keeps going back on and off. Is that something you
I
know?
don't know what's going on there. Do we have a little visitor while this is
I, well, maybe, that's so exciting.
going?
Hi.
I could turn it off if it's
No,
bothering.
no, I love it. I love that. It's like, who's doing that? Okay.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I saw that. I didn't thought maybe that's
What you got over there? Okay, so
yeah.
all of these start with so like let's say meditative prayer for divine intelligence. Down ray the silver ray of divine intelligence into my mental body, quickening my brain and flesh cells and all levels of my consciousness, brain, mind, thinking, sharpening my powers of perception. But they all start with down ray
Right,
the
right.
down ray.
So right. So first of all, let's be clear. The aura is the energetic blueprint of the soul.
Okay.
And it's not just you're a green and I'm a blue. The aura is intricate. There are many, many energies going. And that was one of the reasons we wanted to write the book is to try to clear up a lot of misunderstandings about what the aura is. So every facet of the aura is, in a sense, a reflection of some facet of your consciousness. And we're more than one-sided beings. We can be jealous and loving at the same time, right? We can be kind and creative at the same time. We can be mean and creative at the same time. We can have these combination of things of pluses and negatives. And of course, like the song, eliminate the negative, accentuate the positive. Now, the aura is constantly changing. We're never stuck with an aura the way it is. So when we are doing things that are life enhancing, we're building up the auric power and we're drawing in energy from the universal life force. So everybody's doing that, whether they have any idea what an aura is or not. But the idea is when you do what you just said, when you start more cooperating with the process through meditation, you can bring in more divine power. So let's say that's, yes, in the auric field, intelligence comes through as this brilliant silver light. So if you're like, gosh, I don't understand this, I can't comprehend it, well, you would bring in more of that silver light so you can comprehend it
Mm.
and it built, but then you have to apply it. So an example we like to give is, okay, let's say you're at work and you want to ask your boss for a raise. You've earned it. It's long past due, but you just have chickened out, plain and simple. You just haven't gone out there to ask. Well, in the auric field, there may be a little fear, which comes through as sort of a dull gray. It's not a good energy to have. So it causes me to be inactive. I don't have the energy to go out there and ask for it. Well, in the aura, the color of confidence is gold.
Okay.
So what I do is I would meditate, kind of just like you did right now. I would call in the energies, the gold, this power of confidence. I still got to go there and ask for the raise, but I'm going to find out, wow, you know what? I have like sort of the secret partner. It's a little bit easier to do that now because I have this energy. The whole idea of the aura is if it's in your aura, it will show up in your life. And if it's not in your aura, you got to build it. Barbara's oldest brother was this wonderful opera singer, but it was not a career yet. It was something he was building. Well, she was watching his auras, he was getting his training, and at some point she said, "You know what? His career is going to start really soon. I can see the energy of it." And sure enough, it did. So
Okay.
we lived in Los Angeles for many years, and we would counsel a lot of people in show business. And they said, "When am I going to get my break? When is this going to happen?" And then often Barbara would say, "Well, you got to build up your talent more. The energy is not strong enough." And when we see successful people, we didn't put this chapter in the book, but Barbara had wrote a chapter on celebrity auras.
Mhm.
And one of the things you discover, it's not an accident they're successful. The energy to make them successful was in their auric field. Now, didn't mean they were perfect people, but if you see somebody that has achieved something maybe you would like to achieve, don't be jealous of them, but say, okay, that's an example. That's, okay, if they can do it, I can do it, kind of a thing. Just apply yourself. Many people quit way too soon. They try for a little bit. Oh, it didn't work out. Well, that's not even nearly enough. You really got to really put yourself into it. Now, relationships, for example, is very helpful with the aura. We had a doctor in one of our classes, and he was very honest. He said, I don't show enough compassion for my patients. I
Mhm.
see so many right now, and they're just in and out. Sometimes I think doctors see people like petri dishes. They're like science experiments to try to figure out, what's going on. And so he had to work with the love rate.
Mhm.
So he did. And of course, he still had to take time and see these patients as people. But later he reported, my God, not only do my patients love it, but my whole practice has gotten even busier because people have gotten the word out, he's great to work with. So that's the idea. You call in the energy, but then you have to live it.
Okay.
This is not a genie. This is not a magic wand. Just everything just suddenly is easy, but it does empower you so you can go out there and be more successful.
Well, here's one I'll share with everyone for the meditative prayer with the gold light to generate new work. I'm sure there's a lot of
Yes.
people out there who want that. Down ray the golden ray of wisdom light to touch into my hermetic center and generate new avenues of work, cutting through any negative blocks and giving me the inner strength and divine power to pursue my path and open up the job that's right for me. And then you say, then work with the pure white light. This ray will help to open the actual flow of whatever job you're seeking, thereby helping you to connect with it. Sometimes you can be a little bit out of tune with the job you seek. It may be what you want and are good at, but you're just not clicking with the marketplace you're trying to enter. The
Right.
pure white light can help you synchronize with the work you're seeking. It can also help to release internal blocks. However, if you notice a lot of internal strife, work on clearing that energy separately from this work, primarily with the Hermetic center, but ask the light to touch into all the centers. Yeah, people often will say to me, because I do energy work and readings and this and that and coaching, and they'll say, oh, I have a block. I have a, oh, I want to find love, but I'm blocked, or work, money's not coming in, I'm blocked.
Right. Well, you said a lot of great stuff in that. That was yeah, it's many faceted things. Now, first of all, let's be clear when we talk about something like the Hermetic Center,
Now, what
that's
is the Hermetic
the
Center?
Hermetic Center is a mystical term for the heart chakra.
Oh, okay.
Now, in our spiritual work, okay, so we have the auric field and it's very specific, right? Just like this is my right hand, this is my left hand. It's not, oh, which hand is which? It's very specific. Same with the auric field. Now there we have the seven chakras, and it's actually an eighth above the head. Um, but we work primarily with four of them because they're the most receiving and transmitting. One of them is the mental chakra right here. So the nucleus of your thinking self is right here, meaning literally right now, we're having this conversation. The quality of our thought is radiating energy from this part of us right now. Throat center is the power of your words. So it's not just chatter going out. There's an intention and there's a vibration. So we like to say, speak the words you want to see happen in your life, because if you just say, oh, I hate my job, well, you're already sending out this energy that's disturbing the work that you're doing. So it's counteractive. So if you don't have anything positive to say, don't say anything. Just work at building what you want to create. Then the hermetic, the heart, this is the world affairs. So literally everything that's going on in your life, your career, your finances, your relationships, every bit of it is making an energetic connection here. I like to call this sort of the grand central station of the aura because so much power is moving in and out of it. And then down by the navel is another beautiful chakra called the emotional center. And this is the energetic nucleus of our feeling nature. And this is where we often get tripped up. We confuse our thoughts with our feelings.
Okay.
And they are not the same thing. They serve very different purposes in the auric field, although they obviously work together. Many people, the mistake is they try to make decisions by how they feel, and emotions don't think. They weren't designed to do that. So when you're going down there for your answers, you're going to the wrong place. So no wonder you're confused.
But
Uh,
should we drop down into the heart to make a decision? And sometimes the head, it's too.
well, in the book, we had you have to go through sort of the whole book. So in our meditations, we do all four of them.
Hmm.
But what happens is so the book wouldn't be 2,000 pages long. You
Right.
know, we focus on the most key chakra, but there's a chapter before that talks about the mind. So yes, if I'm thinking, I'll never be successful, this is a lost cause. Well, yeah, how can anything go out here if your mind is all in the wrong place? So you got to clear out all that negative thinking.
Mhm.
But you do have to build up the power. I'll give you just one quick example. Again, when I first started with Barbara, I was still in the showbiz world. And you may know it's kind of feast or famine, right? You're working all the time or you're not working at all. And I was in that not working mode. And in her casual, understated way, Barbara was looking at the Hermetic Center, my Hermetic Center, and said, oh, I see this beautiful turquoise light coming out, which is the energy of prosperity. Now, at that exact moment, there wasn't a job. But literally 2 weeks later, the most lucrative job offer in the business I got.
Wow.
It was in the aura. It just hadn't quite manifested. So don't give up if at first it isn't quite clicking. It isn't quite. I worked with Harold Ramis, the great filmmaker. He died way too young. Did like Groundhog Day and movies like that. And some new people coming in the business was asking him, "Well, what's your recipe for success?" And he said, "Well, decide what you want to do and give yourself 10 years to do it."
Mm.
He didn't say a month. He didn't say, 2 months, because he knew, especially in this business, yes, things sometimes click quickly, but most often it takes time. You hear famous people like Jim Carrey say, "Oh, it was an overnight success,
20.
15 years in the
Right.
making."
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. So seeing auras, I mean, uh gosh, I do you see auras as well? Have you always seen auras? Did you build up to do that? Because I
Well,
know.
I didn't start that way. My path was more started in consciousness. So let's talk because consciousness is really important. Again, it's one of the new things in the book.
Mhm.
So um, there's a lot of talk now about consciousness and what it is and all of that. So we have a conscious awareness of what we're doing right now. And let's say I am calling in, let's say I'm feeling sad, I'm lonely, nobody loves me, I'll never find love. That's a consciousness. Now it's expressing itself through thoughts and feelings, but it's a consciousness of sadness. All right. So that shows up as kind of a gray energy. When you're bringing in the rose pink, you're bringing in a consciousness of love. So my first experiences were in these heightened states of consciousness where I was in just a very different place, but very clear-headed and very thinking. Now, after I started working with Barbara and working about the aura, then she started teaching me and other things started happening. But I want to emphasize you do not need to see the aura to work with it. That's not but you do need to work with it. So
Mhm.
let's say you got angry this morning, could even be your spouse or whatever, but you really like it kind of went, well, then you're going to have that dirty, vitiated red energy in your aura. So just clear it out. One outburst of anger can linger for 2 weeks in the aura if
Mm.
left unattended.
And so
So
for people with it, you teach how to clear it out in the book.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You start working. Now, if you see energies, most people, what they do is they don't actually, it's very hard to see the full aura. There's so much to it. And
Mhm.
even Barbara, it took years from being a natural clairvoyant to being a trained clairvoyant. And the work she's done with me, I can tell you this is not an easy feat. Um, but what you want to do is, as you sense it, you may get a sense. Let's say some people say, yeah, I meet someone, I just like immediately connect with them. I feel their vibe or whatever. Yeah, that you're connecting with an energy field, and you're supposed to kind of respond to that. There's a reason that that's happening. In the same way, you may be feeling a repulsion or something is not right, and you kind of trust that too, without judgment. You're not judging anybody, but at the same time, you have to trust your intuition about these things. And if you see some colors, it's sort of, we like to say it's like a tap on the back, but the real goal is to develop your aura. You can improve it, you can elevate it, you can enlighten it. And that's really the goal. Our mission at the Institute is helping souls grow, helping them develop not just their energy, but their soul, because we're all on this magical journey right now to evolve our soul.
And so we're working with the chakras, the aura is emanating from the chakras. So it's really working with the
Well,
chakras.
the key there's aspects of the aura that's not directly connected to the chakras,
Okay.
um, but the places where we like to say, okay, the first place you make changes in your life is in your aura, but the first place you make a change in your aura are in the chakras. So
Mm-hmm.
you focus on those energy centers to start with, get everything moving the way it needs to, and then it's going to affect other aspects of your auric field as you're living things out. The aura doesn't lie. You
Mm-hmm.
know, what's really going on with you is there. Barbara's son used to say it was hard to come home sometimes in my teenage years because I
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
from my mom what I was up to. But then I thought, you can't hide from any mom, even if they can't see the aura. They know what's going on with their children.
Now, what about these Kirlian photography? Like you go to an expo, New Age expo or something, and they've got for $50, they take a picture of your aura.
Yeah.
And, I did it before, but what is it? I mean,
Yeah.
our aura
Well,
changes
first of
with
all,
it.
that's not Kirlian photography. So
Oh,
the real Kirlian photography, they was done in the 1960s
okay.
in Russia. And what they would do is they would put, let's say, a leaf on a photographic plate and run a gentle current through it, and there would be this auric energy. But one thing that was fascinating about that was it didn't always happen, but let's say here's a photographic plate, and they would put a leaf. Well, they did an experiment where they cut the leaf in half.
Yeah.
You know that, right? They
I
put
saw
the
that
leaf on,
recently.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And then they ran the current, and you could see the aura around the entire leaf.
Yes. Yeah.
So that told you there was something there was something going on with that leaf. Now, we would say that, well, the etheric double of that leaf was still there. It hadn't been dissolved yet. So the electrical current was picking it up. But these modern things are not anything like that. They're really, I'll be frank with you because when the book first came out, everybody wanted that were making these machines,
Hmm.
they wanted Barbara's endorsement. And we would ask them, show us the science. And they
Right.
all ran the other way.
Yeah.
And then basically one confessed it's not really an aura camera, it's a spectrometer. And it's just basically been programmed to look like an aura. So
Yes.
it's a biofeedback, but that's not the auric field.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Once I did see a face in one, though. A face showed up, like somebody's spirit guide or something in there. That was kind of,
Well, again, I don't want to go into the details of it, but
yeah.
we have to remember this is non-physical. The aura is not a physical manifestation, but what it does is it influences physical life. Believe me, science is like going to subatomic particles. And if there was such a thing as aura, science would have picked it up a long time ago. Now, there doesn't mean there isn't a magnetic field around the aura, the physical body. There is, but that's different from the aura itself.
Hmm. And what about working with that to open your psychic abilities? Will it
Well,
working?
I mean, working with the aura. Well,
Yeah.
what we like to say is um, things like clairvoyance is a byproduct of your spiritual development. So
Mhm.
everyone has the potential, no, and it can be learned. It's not like, oh, if you're born with it, you're that. No, it can be learned. It's again extremely difficult. I can tell you that. But as you work on, so it's kind of like growing from a child to an adult. Certain things that happen, let's say like you hit puberty, okay, things have changed, but that wasn't because you were smarter than somebody else. You hit a certain point in your growth and things just naturally change. It's the same with clairvoyance. As you hit a certain mark in your evolution, then it starts to unfold. Now, psychic energy, interestingly enough, is different from mystical energy.
Hmm.
So, in other words, you can be a psychic and pick up certain things psychically, and the better you are at it, and there's some very good ones, they can get pretty accurate. They can figure out, okay, you had this for lunch today, and uh-oh, I think somebody knows having an affair right now. They can tune into that stuff, right? But it's not the same thing as being a mystic clairvoyant, where you're tuning into the living energies that are going on with us right now. That's a lot more difficult to achieve.
Mhm. Okay. And you do talk about wearing colors in here, different colors that you
Exactly like what you're, it
right
is
wearing.
a,
Now, what
yeah,
about
yeah.
black though. People like to wear black a lot, and I do too. Like it's so chic, and it's a, I guess all the colors mix. But what you didn't, I don't think you added that one or dark colors. You said dark.
Well, okay, so I'm just telling you the teaching, right? There's
Yes.
so in the aura, so you're wearing, why are you wearing, again, from the point of view of the aura, why are you wearing color?
Yeah.
Well, color is a door to consciousness. So having color in your house, having color that you wear, it's life enhancing. So if you wear a color that's associated with a particular energy, so you're wearing a color right now that's very close to what we would call carnation red, this brilliant, beautiful, bright red color. So in the auric field, that denotes a lot of vitality. So if you saw that in a person's aura, you say, oh boy, they've got a lot of energy.
Mhm.
Barbara would describe she saw it around the great filmmaker Cecil B. DeMille.
Wow.
And he was 80 years old doing the Ten Commandments. Where did he get the freaking energy for that? It wasn't just willpower, he had that energy. So let's say you wake up one morning and you say, I've got no energy today. I'm really tired. You could wear that red to perk you up,
Okay.
you know, or you're already feeling pretty perky, but you kind of want to enhance it. So again, apart from how you look on it, it
Hmm.
is affecting your auric field, it is helping to attract that energy. Now, the challenge, what we call the unenlightened colors, is they are in the aura, they're not enhanced. Again, this is no judgment, but they're not life enhancing. They're life detracting, right? So that's why they're called unenlightened. They're kind of pulling on your energy, not accelerating. So there's one of the illustrations you were kind of thumbing through there. It was a mixed aura of a woman,
Oh,
and it
cool.
showed the bubbly pink. Oh, that's the enlightened. That's the one we're
Oh,
aiming for.
oh,
It's
yeah.
too, yeah. That's the one that's the ideal aura. But there's like two before that. It's a woman, it's kind of a circular aura, and there's this bubbly pink champagne. So that shows, yeah, there we go. Yeah. That shows that that woman is romantically interested in somebody right now. Bubbly pink shows sort of a romantic interest. It's not very strong, so it means it's probably not being reciprocated. But you also notice near the abdominal area, there's this kind of billowy dark green cloud. That's jealousy. Both energies are present in the aura at the same time. That love, which is the pink, but the jealousy. So she loves him, but she's jealous because he's not interested in her, let's say. And aren't we kind of the conundrum sometimes, right? We can have both clashing. Well, you got to get rid of the jealousy. It's not helping you, let alone what it might be doing to other people. So there's that clearing out that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So if you wear avocado green, now Barbara's joke would be, well, if you see, if you go to buy a car and you see someone your salesman wearing avocado green, run the other way. They're trying to cheat you. So you just got to be aware that that color is not helping the auric energy. That doesn't mean don't ever wear it, but if you open your closet and it's all avocado
You
green,
have all the enlightened colors here.
it's all there. Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
there.
you can see
All
what
there.
they are.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so what's going on with this guy? This guy
Oh,
over.
that's unfortunately that's the other end. So, okay, so those are, I'm so glad you're showing them there. Yeah. I really appreciate that because it really kind of makes what we're talking about come to life. Oh, something you got a little emoji there going thumbs up.
Yeah, the spirit probably did that.
Yeah. So the aura has definite shapes. It's one of three shapes.
Okay.
So the rounded is called the mixed, meaning it has enlightened and unenlightened energies in it. Like we said, we have good things and not so good, but we lean to the good. There's more good than not so good. So
Okay.
we're on that upward swing. That middle one, the squared one, is a what we call a devolved aura. Okay, that means there's more dark energy than good. This person is doing not only bad things, but is losing spiritual energy rather than gaining. I'll tell you one Barbara story for a moment. She was only 4 years old, right? And again, her father was this Greek priest that built churches, and there was this huge cathedral that they were inaugurating, and the archbishop was there, the big honcho. And in the Greek faith, you're supposed to kiss the hand of the archbishop or whoever is officiating after it's over. So here's the priest family prominently, in the front there, and the archbishop's doing whatever he's doing, and so little 4-year-old Barbara's looking at the archbishop's aura, and she doesn't see a beautiful aura. She sees this dark, grotesque aura that's squared shape.
Mhm.
Now, she said the bishops had beautiful auras, but the archbishop did not. And at the end, when it came time for her to kiss his hand, little Barbara just screamed out to everybody, "I'm not kissing his hand. He's a monster. He eats children." And she said one of the many spankings that,
Got in
she got.
trouble, huh, for the,
So
yeah.
now the third one is the other end of the spectrum, that beautiful, the one you first showed, the pointed oval. So as you continue to elevate your aura, eventually the whole shape changes. And look at how beautifully organized and the colors are bright. That's the enlightened aura. That's the aura we're all aspiring to. So as we pay attention to ourselves, as we work out our character defects and the things that are not so great. Now, it doesn't mean that this person's a billionaire or something like that, but it means they are living their truth and it is showing completely in their auric field.
Mm-hmm. Well, and peace and happiness and health and all of that stuff, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then you talk about what's great also, which is a great idea. It's more towards the back of the book. It's sending energy ahead of you if you're going somewhere to meet
Yes.
someone.
Yes.
Energy.
Yes. So because we live in a sea of energy, it's not just your energy and my energy. Um, so let's say again, you're going to go to a restaurant, and you're looking forward to a great meal.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't realize is maybe the people that sat at the table that you're going to sit at, maybe they had a huge fight. And it
Yeah.
was all this anger and bitterness and animosity. And they get up and they leave, and the table is reset and it looks beautiful, but that energy is still there. So if you sit down in your happy mood and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm not so happy all of a sudden, what happened? You can pick up that energy unintentionally. So sending the light ahead of you
Mm-hmm.
to clear out anything that may be, or you're going to have an important meeting at your job,
Yeah.
send the light ahead so that things go in what we call a clockwise motion. It's tremendously helpful, and it makes you, again, you have like this ally that's helping you through things that are going on in your life.
I love it. That is fantastic. Or even clients, I'm a matchmaker and sometimes I get
Oh,
frustrated because the guys are, they want a supermodel, they've paid me and they get
they
real.
get a little hypnotized. Well, again,
Woo!
what we can say from the aura is the problem with that is, okay, you may have a passionate exchange, but it could be just very short-lived. What you're really looking for is compatibility. If two auras are compatible, let's say two people are thinking of marriage, let's say, and the energies are compatible, that's going to be a successful marriage.
Yeah.
But you're going for looks or money or whatever your green card, whatever it is you're
And
going.
just for me as the matchmaker, I get very frustrated sometimes because the men are so visually focused that if they don't like the picture, if she doesn't look like, literally a model, there it's like, forget it. And I'm like, well, do you normally attract models? Do you normally date models? Before you hire
You're
me
going to
to
be the magic person that's going to bring them.
pass magic wand. And so I'll get frustrated. And I think this could even be good, sending the light
Oh,
even to their
absolutely. Yeah.
file, even to them, when they're going to talk to somebody, all of
And
that.
what we also say, I don't know if it could help in the situations you're dealing with, but we do in our work a lot of like visualizations. Okay, let's say you want a
Mhm.
wife, a husband, or whatever. Well, but in your visualization, what you don't visualize is what you're saying. Oh, I want them so tall. I want their eyes to look like this. I want their hair to look like. No, you don't visualize that at all. What you visualize are the qualities. What are you looking for in a person? Do
Yeah.
you want a sense of humor? Do you want intelligence? Do you want loyalty? What's important? And you visualize that and
Yeah.
the experience of being in them in that joy, and then everything else will fall into place.
Yeah. With the men, it's the looks first and then they want to know the rest, but I can hold that for them, even, what's
And
the
what do the women want?
the women are more, they want a man who's with a sense of humor,
Okay.
generous, protective. They do want successful height. It's very interesting how it goes way back to caveman days where
Yeah.
the men look
Yeah.
for health, clear skin, a nice, that
Yeah.
figure
The
that shows
hourglass.
health and fertility, right? That's what
Right.
that is.
Right.
And that's why they look for that. And then often a fuller chest or whatever. It's like that's
Right.
just like ingrained. And then the women want a taller for protection. And if they make nowadays, it's do you make money? That's protection because they can afford a home, all of that. So it's
Right.
still kind of that
It's
those
still
old
there. It's still
ingrained
there.
in us to look for that.
Well, I mean, it's not like you can't get somebody that's, but again, there has to be compatibility.
It has to be.
Has to be
Yeah.
you have to get along together. What did Teilhard de Chardin say so beautifully? He said about love. He said it's not about gazing so much into each other's eyes. It's about looking in the same direction.
Yes,
What
I love
values, right? What are you aiming? What do you want to accomplish in your life?
right.
And is this other person going to accomplish the same things that you do? And not just security. That I mean, everybody wants that, but I mean, what do you really want? And of course, if it's coming down to family,
Hmm.
then you're dealing with things like, well, do you want children and
Yeah.
all that kind of thing, and then because you're going to pass these things on to them. So yeah, it's dating today, I think, well, especially now with the internet, and so it appears like choices. And I also feel sorry for some of the very young people when they're in their young teens and they're going online and somebody says, "Oh, I don't like the way you look. I think you have a little thing right here." All that stuff that's going on, which is
Swipe
such
left or right,
nonsense.
next, next, next,
I
I know.
say that, go, you don't like, I'm keeping this.
In our generation, we did it different. It was so much fun, just right.
Yeah,
Meeting,
yeah.
somehow we met people,
You got to be strong today. I think in the dating world today now, you got to have a clear understanding of who you are more
yeah.
than ever before. If you don't have a good sense of you, yeah, you're going to definitely potentially be victimized. And one of the things we like to teach, and Barb always would say, do you want to be the master or the victim of your life?
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
need to take control of your life, including the kind of person you're going to. This is a big decision, right? I mean, and the other thing we also like to say with marriage is, there's what we call, I know we're not talking about that now, but there's a karmic element to it.
Hmm. Good.
It's something
Yeah.
you're meant to work out. So the other thing that people do is they marry and then they get divorced like it's just a weekend thing. Don't In the old days, it was you didn't divorce, right? You just stuck it out no
Yeah.
matter what. But the advantage of that was if there's unresolved things that the two of you are meant to accomplish and you bail too quickly, then you're not working it out and you're only carrying it to the next situation.
That's true.
It's not going to get better. The same, if you haven't worked out the issue here, you're going to find why do women, let's say, if they're in an abusive relationship, they find other abusive relationships. And it's because the core issue has never been solved and you're just getting the same situation. It's just a different face.
I
Take
did
care of
that for years. I did that for years, and I had to get to that core issue and clear that out and look
right,
at what was going on.
right.
Yeah, but we
Well,
will.
hopefully you're helping these people in the to deal if
Yeah.
they're coming in with baggage, let alone what they want.
Right, right. Well, and then I do coaching and energy healing and all of that. And this book
Yeah,
will really help because I do in my healings, I bring in all these colors, but this, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be fantastic
yeah,
to
great,
add
great,
to it.
great.
So yeah,
Well, people, it's more important than ever. The right person, the family unit, that's the building block of civilization.
right,
And it's as important now as it ever was, even though the dynamics have changed.
right.
It's more important than it's ever been. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well,
I wish you
Dimitri,
good luck in all that you're doing to help those that are
thank
trying to
you.
find
Thank
real happiness, not just
superficial. We want to go deep. We want to get that aura like that
real.
picture.
Exactly,
Thank
exactly.
you for spending this time with us and sharing this beautiful book,
Yeah.
Change Your
Like,
Life. You guys check it out. All of his links to buy the book and to connect with him on the website and everything, right? Are
yeah,
below.
yeah.
And
Spiritual
let's
Arts Institute. Our organization is Spiritual Arts Institute,
uh-huh.
and the website is spiritualarts.org.
Wonderful. Spiritualarts.org, and it's flashing up on the screen. And leave us a comment. Do you work with the aura? Can you see auras? What did you think about this conversation? And are you cleaning up your baggage before you jump into the next relationship? And if you're psychic, who do you think was turning on and off that light back there? All right, everybody. Much love. Until next time.